The blue light from Alina's computer screen reflected off her glasses as she ran the simulation for the 12th time. The results remained consistent, impossibly, thrillingly consistent. She pushed back from her desk and rubbed her eyes, glancing at the clock. 3:27 a.m. The university building stood silent around her, everyone else long gone. "This can't be right," she whispered, but the data didn't lie. Her equations showed that quantum particles exhibited synchronized behavior across theoretical boundary points, places where our universe might touch others. Most importantly, her models suggested human brainwave patterns generated quantum resonance frequencies that could potentially interact with these boundary points. Alina sate her work and locked the lab, her mind racing faster than her feet as she walked to her car. The night air felt electric against her skin, or maybe that was just adrenaline. If she was right, the implications were staggering. Parallel universes weren't just theoretical constructs, but potentially accessible realities. The next morning, Alina presented her findings to the university's physics department. Professor Whitman, her former mentor, leaned forward with furrowed brows as she explained the mathematical foundation of her resonance theory. "You're suggesting human consciousness can influence quantum boundary states?" he asked, skepticism evident in his voice. "Not just influence, potentially bridge them," Alina replied, clicking to her next slide. "These patterns here indicate that." "Dr. Reyes," interrupted Dr. Chambers, the department head, "this borders on pseudoscience. Quantum consciousness theories have been consistently debunked." "This isn't about consciousness affecting quantum states within our universe," Alina clarified, maintaining her composure despite the dismissive glances exchanged around the table. "This is about a unique resonance pattern generated by human neural activity that appears capable of creating microscopic tunnels between adjacent dimensional membranes." The presentation deteriorated from there. 2 weeks later, Alina received notice that her research grant would not be renewed. Her lab access would terminate at the end of the month. Undeterred, Alina converted her apartment's spare bedroom into a makeshift laboratory. She salvaged equipment from university dumpsters and spent her savings on components she couldn't scrounge. Her dining table became a workbench covered with circuit boards, quantum field generators, and hastily drawn schematics. Her prototype device, essentially a quantum amplifier designed to strengthen the natural resonance of her own brainwaves, took shape over sleepless nights. Alina had nicknamed it the Boundary Breaker, though she told no one about her continued work. Her former colleagues had made their opinion clear. She was throwing away a promising career on fringe theories. On the 42nd day of her solo project, Alina made a breakthrough by modifying an EEG headset to interface with her quantum amplifier. She detected faint but undeniable signs of dimensional feedback, like echoes from adjacent realities responding to her brainwave patterns. Alina fine-tuned the system, enhancing sensitivity and stability. Each improvement brought clearer readings, until one night, the needle-like sensors of her detection array all aligned in perfect synchronization, a harmonic convergence of quantum frequencies. With trembling fingers, Alina adjusted the final calibration and initiated the full activation sequence. The boundary breaker hummed to life, components glowing with increasing intensity. Her apartment lights flickered as the device drew more power than anticipated. "Come on," she whispered, making micro-adjustments based on real-time data flowing across her laptop screen. "Show me I'm not crazy." The air in the center of the room began to shimmer, like heat rising from hot pavement. The quantum field detector's readings spiked off the charts. A pinpoint of blue light appeared, hovering 3 feet above the floor, then expanded outward like an iris opening. Alina stood transfixed, heart pounding in her chest, as the light grew large enough for something, or someone, to step through. The blue portal pulsed and stretched, casting eerie shadows across Alina's apartment. She took an instinctive step backward, knocking over a stack of research papers. Her heart hammered against her ribs as a human form materialized within the light. A man stepped through. He appeared to be in his mid-30s with angular features and dark hair cropped close to his scalp. His clothing, A fitted jumpsuit made of material that seemed to shift colors depending on how the light hit it was unlike anything Elena had seen before, but it was his eyes that made her gasp. They reflected the blue light like a cat's, with vertical pupils that contracted as he surveyed the room. "Dr. Elena Reyes," he said, his voice carrying a strange accent she couldn't place. "Your resonance signature is unmistakable." Elena found her voice despite her shock. "Who are you? How do you know my name?" "I am Zane," he replied, his gaze moving methodically around her makeshift lab. "You are making quite a disturbance across the dimensional membrane. The Meridians have noticed." Meridians. Elena edged toward her desk where she kept a small canister of pepper spray. Zane raised his hands in a calming gesture. "I mean no harm. Quite the opposite. I'm here to warn you." His eyes softened. "And perhaps to ask for your help." Over the next hour, Zane explained his origins. He came from a parallel Earth where humans had evolved alongside another intelligent species, the Meridians. Tall, graceful beings with superior technological abilities and a rigid societal structure based on absolute order and predictability. "In my world, humans serve the Meridians," Zane said, examining the quantum amplifier with obvious interest. "We're considered unpredictable, chaotic, useful for certain tasks, but dangerous if given too much freedom. And the Meridians detected my experiments." Elena asked, struggling to process everything. Zane nodded. "Your Earth is unique, Dr. Reyes. The only reality in local dimensional proximity where humans became the dominant species. The only world where human potential wasn't constrained." He activated a holographic display from a device on his wrist. It showed a three-dimensional map of floating points connected by faint lines. "These are parallel Earths within reach of current dimensional travel technology," he explained. "On most, humans never evolved at all. On others, like mine, we exist but were subjugated. The Meridians consider your Earth an anomaly, a dangerous one." Elena studied the map, scientific curiosity temporarily overriding her fear. "Why dangerous?" "Because you've discovered dimensional travel independently," Zane said grimly. "The Meridians believe humans with access to the multiverse would spread chaos across all realities. They've dispatched hunters to locate your world and eliminate the threat." "By eliminate, you mean?" "They'll destroy your research," Zane interrupted, "and anyone who understands it, which is why you need to dismantle this equipment immediately." Elena crossed her arms. "You traveled across dimensions just to tell me to stop my work." Something flickered in Zane's reflective eyes. "Admiration, perhaps." "Initially, yes. I'm part of a resistance movement. The Meridians don't know I'm here." "But now," Elena pressed. Zane gazed at the still active portal, his expression shifting to one of cautious hope. "Now I'm wondering if we've been waiting for you. Free humans with dimensional technology could change everything for my people." He looked back at Elena. "If you're willing to take the risk." "These hunters," Elena said, already making mental calculations for portal stability improvements. "How long do we have before they find us?" "Not long," Zane replied. "Days, perhaps. They're already scanning for dimensional disturbances." Elena moved to her computer and began typing rapidly. "Then we better get to work." Elena studied the modified portal device as Zane made final adjustments. Over 3 sleepless days, they had transformed her prototype into something more stable and, crucially, portable. The new device, roughly the size of a backpack, hummed quietly on her workbench. "The dimensional coordinates are locked," Zane said, closing a panel on the side. "This will take us directly to a resistance outpost in my reality." Elena nodded, trying to suppress her nervousness. She had packed essentials into a small bag: clothes, basic tools, and a tablet containing her research data. She couldn't quite believe she was about to step into another universe. "What if it doesn't work?" she asked. Zane's reflective eyes met hers. "Then we'll be scattered across the quantum void. But my calculations confirm yours. It will work." The portal activated with a soft hum, expanding into a shimmering blue doorway. Elena took a deep breath and stepped through alongside Zane. The transition felt like passing through a curtain of static electricity. For a heartbeat, Elena experienced the disorienting sensation of existing in multiple places simultaneously. Then reality solidified around her. They stood in what appeared to be an abandoned subway station. Dim emergency lights cast long shadows across crumbling concrete platforms. The air smelled of dust and ozone. "Welcome to my Earth," Zane said quietly, immediately moving them behind a concrete pillar. "We need to remain undetected." Meridian patrols scan the surface ruins regularly. They descended through maintenance tunnels into the deeper underground network that housed the human resistance. After passing through several security checkpoints where guards with the same reflective eyes as Zane regarded Elena with suspicious fascination, they'd reached the resistance headquarters. The main chamber had once been a subway maintenance facility, now transformed into a command center. Maps covered the walls, and salvage technology hummed throughout the space. About 24 people worked at various stations, all pausing to stare when Elena entered. A tall woman with gray-streaked hair approached them. "This is your dimensional traveler, Zane. She looks ordinary enough." "This is Commander Sarah," Zane explained to Elena, "leader of our sector's resistance." Elena extended her hand, which Sarah examined curiously before shaking it. "I'm Dr. Elena Reyes. She claims humans evolved differently on her Earth," Zane continued. "No Meridian influence." "A fantasy," scoffed a man monitoring communications nearby. "Humans have always served the Meridians." "Not on my Earth," Elena replied firmly. She removed her tablet from her bag and activated it. "Let me show you." Over the next several hours, Elena presented evidence of human civilization from her world. Technologies, social structures, and achievements that had developed without Meridian oversight. The resistance leaders were skeptical at first, then increasingly astonished. "Your people developed these tools without access to crystalline technology?" Sarah asked, examining schematics for solar power systems that looked primitive to her, but were completely independent of Meridian technology. "We developed everything ourselves," Elena explained, "through trial and error, scientific method, and collaboration." She observed that while these parallel humans possessed heightened sensory abilities, their reflective eyes allowed night vision, and their hearing seemed more acute. They lacked certain problem-solving approaches her world took for granted. "Your people have physical advantages we don't," Elena said, "but you've been prevented from developing certain kinds of innovative thinking." Sarah's expression hardened. "The Meridians control education. Independent research is forbidden." Elena nodded, an idea forming. "What if I taught your people our innovation strategies, while you help me reach other human-inhabited universes? Together, we might create something the Meridians have never encountered, a multi-dimensional human alliance." Sarah and Zane exchanged glances. "The Meridians would hunt us across all realities," Sarah said cautiously. "They're already doing that," Elena pointed out. "But they've never faced humans working together across dimensions." After intense debate among the resistance leaders, Sarah finally nodded. "We accept your proposal, Dr. Reyes. Our alliance begins today." Elena stood before a wall of holographic displays in the Resistance's expanded command center. Each screen showed data from a different parallel Earth they had visited over the past month. Zane and Sarah flanked her, studying the information with intense concentration. "There's a definite pattern emerging," Elena said, gesturing to highlighted brain scan comparisons. "Each universe's humans have developed specialized neural pathways." The Resistance had helped Elena reach 7 more human-inhabited realities, rescuing small groups from each to join their growing alliance. The discoveries had been fascinating and troubling in equal measure. Universe 3 has humans with perfect photographic memory, Elena continued, tapping the display. Universe 5 shows heightened physical reflexes and coordination. Universe 6 demonstrates advanced empathic capabilities. They can literally sense emotional states from subtle physical cues. And Universe 7's pattern recognition abilities are unlike anything I've seen, Zane added. They can identify complex sequences that would take our computers hours to calculate. Sarah frowned. Why would humans evolve so differently across realities? I don't think it was natural evolution, Elena said quietly. Look at these Meridian research documents we recovered from the outpost raid last week. She pulled up translated texts that detailed centuries of Meridian genetic manipulation programs. The truth was disturbing. The Meridians had been selectively breeding humans across multiple realities, enhancing certain traits while suppressing others. They'd been conducting a multi-dimensional eugenics experiment, Elena explained. Each reality's humans were pushed toward specific cognitive or physical specializations, useful to Meridian needs, but never allowed to develop a complete range of abilities. Why? Asked Sarah, her voice tight with anger. Fear, Zane suggested. The Meridian texts we've decrypted repeatedly mention prophecies about humans. They call us the Chaos Bringers and Pattern Breakers. Elena nodded. They fear our potential, especially if we were ever to combine our different specialized abilities. A communication alert interrupted them. The face of Marcus Chen, Elena's research partner from her original universe, appeared on the main screen. After confirming Elena's safety, he had remained behind to monitor Meridian activity and continue refining dimensional theory. Elena, I found something critical, Marcus said, his expression tense. Your original equations weren't just detecting dimensional boundaries. They were identifying potential neural linkages between parallel human consciousness. What do you mean? Elena leaned closer to the screen. Human brains across different realities share a quantum entanglement pattern, Marcus explained rapidly. If properly synchronized, they could potentially form a networked consciousness, combining specialized abilities from different realities into a unified field. Elena's mind raced with implications. That would mean. It means the Meridians have been right to fear humans all along, Marcus finished. Combined human consciousness could generate enough quantum coherence to fundamentally alter dimensional boundaries. Suddenly, Marcus glanced over his shoulder, alarm crossing his face. Someone's here. I don't think. The communication cut abruptly. The screen showed only static. Marcus. Elena called, futilely adjusting controls to restore the connection. An alert flashed across multiple monitors. Dimension trackers showed multiple transit signatures converging on Elena's home reality. Meridian ships, Zane confirmed grimly, studying the readings. At least a dozen. Sarah turned to her tactical team. Prepare a rescue mission immediately. We need to extract Elena's colleague before the Meridians get whatever information he's discovered. Elena stared at the silent screen, fear gripping her chest. I should never have left him there alone. We'll get him back, Zane said, placing a hand on her shoulder. And based on what he's discovered, we need him more than ever. Elena nodded, determination replacing fear. Prepare the portal device. I'm going home. Elena crouched behind an overturned desk in what remained of her apartment. The rescue team, 6 specialists recruited from different realities, moved with practiced precision through the debris. Meridian search drones had already swept through, leaving destruction in their wake. They've taken everything, Elena whispered to Zane, who was scanning for electronic signatures. Not everything, he replied, pointing to a small distortion in the corner of the room. They missed your backup server. It's still cloaked with the phase shift technology we installed last month. Neko, a wiry man from Universe 7, with extraordinary pattern recognition abilities, moved to Elena's side. The Meridian search patterns indicate they're holding prisoners at a research facility 20 kilometers north. Based on their movement algorithms, I calculate a 93% probability that's where they've taken Marcus. Elena nodded. Their team had been carefully assembled. Nico for pattern analysis, Telia from Universe 3 with perfect memory for facility layouts, Raven from Universe 5 with enhanced reflexes for combat, Eli from Universe 6 with empathic abilities to detect guards, plus Zane and Elena herself. "We need to move," said Raven, checking her makeshift weapons. "Meridian patrol cycles give us a 17-minute window to reach the transit tunnel." They moved through the city under cover of darkness. The Meridian presence was heavier than anticipated. Hovering craft swept searchlights across streets, and tall, graceful figures in iridescent armor patrolled in precise formations. "They're looking for more of us," Eli whispered, his empathic senses stretched to their limits. "They're afraid. I've never felt fear from Meridians before." They reached the research facility as dawn approached. The building resembled a perfect glass pyramid, Meridian architecture favoring precise geometric forms. Talia had memorized the structural blueprints from a previous mission, guiding them to a maintenance entrance. "Guards change in 40 seconds," she stated without hesitation, eyes unfocused as she accessed her perfect memory. Security system loops through a 7-point check pattern with a 3-second blind spot between zones 4 and 5. Raven moved when Talia signaled, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to slip through the security gap with milliseconds to spare. She disabled the internal sensors, allowing the others to follow. Inside, the facility was clinically sterile. Eli led them through corridors, sensing the emotional signatures of guards before they appeared and directing the team to avoid detection. They reached a secured laboratory level where Neko identified irregular patterns in the security protocols. "Something important is here," he murmured. "They've added random elements to their usual algorithms." They breached the laboratory doors to find a horrifying sight. Suspended animation chambers lined the walls, each containing a human subject. In the center, Marcus lay strapped to an examination table, neural probes attached to his skull. 2 Meridians stood nearby, their tall, willowy forms bent over holographic displays of his brain activity. Elena signaled the team. Raven moved first, her enhanced speed allowing her to neutralize the Meridians before they could trigger alarms. Eli monitored Marcus's emotional state, while Elena and Zane carefully removed the neural interface equipment. "Marcus," Elena said urgently as his eyes fluttered open. "We're getting you out of here." "Elena," he mumbled, still disoriented from the neural probes. "They know everything. They extracted the equations from my mind. We'll deal with that later," she assured him, helping him sit up. "Can you walk?" As Talia and Nico began releasing the other human captives, Marcus gripped Elena's arm tightly. "You don't understand," he said, his eyes clearing. "They didn't just take my research. They've been studying human brain tissue for centuries, trying to understand our capacity for intuitive leaps. I saw their research while they were in my mind. Elena, the Meridians aren't another species." "What do you mean?" Zane asked, suddenly alert. "They're us," Marcus said. "Evolved humans who altered themselves millennia ago. They're terrified of what we might become because they remember what they gave up to achieve perfect order." An alarm suddenly blared throughout the facility. "Discussion later," Raven stated firmly. "We have 4 minutes before this place is swarming with guards." As they helped the weakened captives move toward the exit, Elena's mind raced with the implications of Marcus's revelation. The secret to traveling through parallel universes had just revealed something far more profound. The ultimate truth about their mysterious adversaries. The dimensional portal snapped closed behind them as the rescue team materialized in the Resistance headquarters. Medical staff rushed forward to tend to Marcus and the other rescued captives. Elena paced anxiously while doctors examined her colleague. "His vital signs are stable," reported Dr. Lin, one of the Resistance's medical experts. "But the neural probing was extensive. He needs rest." "We may not have time for rest," Zane said grimly, examining data flowing across the command center screens. Meridian fleet movements have increased tenfold across all monitored realities. They're mobilizing for something big. 2 hours later, Marcus awoke. Despite the doctor's protests, he insisted on joining Elena and the Resistance leadership in the command center. His face was pale, but his eyes burned with urgency. The Meridians began as humans, Marcus explained, his voice steady despite his weakened state. Approximately 12,000 years ago in the first universe, they used early dimensional technology to eliminate what they considered evolutionary weaknesses: emotional responses, unpredictability, creativity. They engineered themselves for perfect logic and immortality. Elena added, the implications becoming clear. But something went wrong. Marcus nodded. They achieved their goal but lost something essential in the process. They became trapped in rigid patterns of thought, unable to innovate or adapt beyond their programmed parameters. Commander Sarah leaned forward. Then why their obsession with controlling humans across realities? Fear, Marcus replied, and resource extraction. They harvest human brain tissue trying to recover the neural pathways for creativity and intuitive thinking. But they can't integrate these qualities without becoming what they fear: unpredictable, emotional beings. Elena turned to the holographic displays where her equations intermingled with Marcus's recent discoveries. Together, they had completed the theoretical framework that had begun in her university lab months ago. Your equations weren't just describing dimensional travel, Zane observed, studying the completed work. They're revealing how human consciousness creates reality at the quantum level. Exactly, Elena confirmed. Human creativity and adaptability aren't just behavioral traits. They generate unique quantum patterns that can reshape reality itself. The meridians can maintain cosmic stability, but humans introduce beneficial chaos that drives evolution. Marcus pointed to a simulation running on one of the screens. If enough humans from different realities combine their consciousness through Elena's technology, they could create a powerful wave of quantum restructuring. We could potentially restore the balance the meridians have been disrupting. Is that even possible? Asked Sarah. Elena nodded slowly. Theoretically, yes. We would need to build an enhanced dimensional resonator, one capable of linking minds across realities without requiring physical travel. The Leadership Council debated the implications while Elena and Marcus refined their calculations. As the discussion intensified, an alarm suddenly blared through the command center. Multiple dimensional breaches detected. Called a technician from the monitoring station. Our primary shield generators are failing. Security feeds showed meridian forces materializing at multiple points around the base perimeter. Their precise, synchronized movements indicated a carefully planned assault. How did they find us? Demanded Sarah, already issuing evacuation orders. Eli, the empath, had been strangely quiet. Now he stepped forward, his expression a mixture of shame and defiance. I'm sorry. I believed cooperation was the only path to survival. I sent them our coordinates 3 days ago. Guards moved to seize him, but Elena intervened. There's no time. Everyone needs to evacuate to the backup locations. As chaos erupted around them, Elena downloaded their combined research onto multiple data cores, distributing them to key team members. Scatter to the designated safe universes, Sarah ordered. Regroup using Protocol 7 in 48 hours. The base shuddered as the first Meridian energy weapons struck the outer defenses. As evacuation portals activated throughout the facility, Elena looked at Marcus and made a decision. We need to complete the resonator, she said firmly. And I know where we can get the components. 48 hours after the evacuation, Elena materialized in Universe 4, a barren Earth where humans had long ago retreated underground to escape an irradiated surface. The designated meeting point was an abandoned bunker beneath what had once been the Rocky Mountains. Zane arrived moments later, followed by Talia and Nico. Raven appeared next with Marcus supporting him, his leg wounded during their escape. Over the next hour, survivors trickled in from various realities. Commander Sarah was the last to arrive, her face grim. We've lost 37 people, she reported. 4 safe houses compromised. The Meridians are hunting us across dimensions with unprecedented coordination. They're desperate, Marcus said. What we discovered terrifies them more than anything has in millennia. Elena unfolded a makeshift holographic projector. We've been analyzing Eli's betrayal pattern. While regrettable, it's revealed something unexpected. The projector displayed a cascade of quantum signatures, dimensional transit markers the Meridians had left while pursuing them. They're predictable, Elena explained. Despite all their technology, the Meridians follow absolutely rigid tactical protocols. Every pursuit, every ambush follows mathematical patterns they can't deviate from. Nico nodded, his pattern recognition abilities confirming her analysis. Their evolutionary alterations force them into these fixed responses. They cannot improvise. So we use their predictability against them, Zane suggested. Exactly, Elena agreed. But we'll need to draw them out, create a focal point they can't ignore. Over the next several hours, they formulated a plan more audacious than anything they'd attempted. Elena and Marcus had completed the design for the quantum resonance amplifier, a device capable of linking human minds across dimensions. The components needed could only be found in one place, a universe where humans had never evolved, containing only a massive asteroid field orbiting a dying star. The quantum interference patterns there are perfect, Marcus explained. It's the ideal environment for generating the neural connection field, but assembling the device will take time. Time the Meridians won't give us, Sarah pointed out. Unless we want them to find us, Elena said quietly. The room fell silent as she outlined her strategy. Rather than hiding their dimensional signatures, they would amplify them, creating a deliberate beacon to draw Meridian forces to their chosen location. While the Meridians converged on the asteroid field universe, teams stationed across multiple realities would activate synchronized resonance devices, channeling their consciousness to the focal point. It's a trap, Raven said appreciatively. We make them think they've cornered us. But someone needs to be at the focal point, Zane noted, his reflective eyes fixed on Elena. Someone to calibrate the field as the Meridians arrive. I'll do it, Elena said firmly. It's a suicide position, Sarah objected. Not necessarily, Marcus interjected. If the field generates as predicted, physical location becomes irrelevant. Consciousness could theoretically exist across all connected dimensions simultaneously. Theoretically, Talia emphasized, her perfect memory recalling every failed experiment they'd conducted. Elena studied the faces around her, humans from different realities, each evolved with unique strengths, united by their shared humanity and desire for freedom. People who'd become more than colleagues, friends, family. We have one advantage the Meridians will never understand, she said softly. We're willing to risk everything not just for our own survival, but for each other. They see it as irrational. I see it as our greatest strength. The plan took shape rapidly. Teams dispersed to gather components and establish resonance points across 7 key universes. Elena, Marcus, and Zane prepared for their journey to the asteroid field with the core device components. As her team made final preparations, Elena recorded a message for her original Earth, in case she never returned. The fate of countless realities now rested on a plan that depended on the one thing the Meridians had engineered out of their existence, the unpredictable human spirit. Elena floated in the modified spacesuit, making final adjustments to the quantum resonance amplifier anchored to a large asteroid. Around her, the vast field of space debris orbited the dying red star that dominated the horizon. The beauty of this empty universe was haunting. No Earth had formed here, no life had evolved. Meridian ships detected. Zane's voice crackled through her communicator. 17 vessels entering the system. Estimated arrival in 12 minutes. Status of the resonance network? Elena asked, her fingers flying over the calibration controls. Marcus responded from his position several kilometers away. All 7 connection points are active and synchronized. Consciousness links are stabilizing. We're ready. Elena took a deep breath. Everything depended on precise timing now. The plan required the Meridians to believe they had trapped the human resistance in this uninhabited universe. Only when their ships converged would the team activate the full resonance field. They're scanning for life signs, reported Talia from her monitoring position. "They've detected our presence on the main asteroid cluster." "Good," Alina said, making a final adjustment. "Let them come." The Meridian ships appeared on the horizon like silver needles puncturing the fabric of space. Their perfect formation never wavered as they surrounded the asteroid field, cutting off all conventional escape routes. "They're deploying energy containment fields," Marcus warned. 30 seconds until we're completely surrounded." Alina activated the primary sequence on the amplifier. Its core began to pulse with blue-white energy, the same color as the dimensional portals. Around the multiverse, 7 teams simultaneously activated their link devices. "Connection field stabilizing," Alina reported, feeling the first tingling sensation as her consciousness began to expand beyond her physical form. "Is everyone linked?" Affirmations came from across the dimensions. Humans from every reality they had visited were joining their minds through the quantum network, each contributing their unique evolved abilities to the unified field. The Meridian flagship transmitted a message in their precise, emotionless language. "Surrender your technology and research. Compliance will result in humane containment." Alina didn't respond. The energy field around the amplifier intensified as more human minds joined the network. She felt her awareness stretching, touching thousands of other consciousnesses, each unique, yet fundamentally human. "They're charging weapons," Zane warned. "Now," Alina commanded. She activated the final sequence just as the Meridian ships fired. But instead of destroying the asteroid, something unexpected happened. The quantum field generated by the linked human network didn't just affect physical reality. It reached into the Meridian consciousness itself. Alina experienced a mental connection with the Meridian collective mind. Suddenly, she could see their true nature, the ancient humans who had sacrificed emotion and unpredictability for order and immortality. Their fear of humanity stemmed from remembering what they had abandoned eons ago. Through the connection, Alina shared the full spectrum of human experience: joy, pain, love, loss, hope, fear. 12,000 years of suppressed emotion flooded the Meridian collective consciousness. Their ships faltered in perfect unison as the beings within experienced feelings for the first time in countless generations. "What's happening?" Sarah's voice came through the link. "They're remembering who they were," Alina replied, maintaining the connection despite the strain. "Who they could be again." The energy field surrounding the amplifier shifted from blue to gold. Alina felt her physical body beginning to dissolve into pure consciousness as the quantum field reached critical resonance. But she wasn't afraid. Across the dimensional network, thousands of human minds supported her, their combined strength creating something entirely new. The Meridian ships powered down their weapons. A new transmission came through, different from the cold precision of before. It carried something the Meridians had engineered out of their existence millennia ago: emotion. "We remember," the voice said. "Help us." As the golden field expanded outward, connecting all realities within reach, Alina understood the true secret of traveling through parallel universes. It wasn't about technology or mathematical formulas. It was about connection. The uniquely human ability to bridge differences and create something greater than the sum of its parts.